It's been 50 years since Indira Gandhi imposed the emergency, a 21-month period that saw civil liberties suspended, press censored, and thousands jailed across India. The BJP has also launched a series of programs across the country to remember what it calls the darkest chapter of Indian democracy. We have with us senior BJP leader and former Union Minister Prakash Javadekar to share with us his experience. Sir, to begin with, you were jailed for 16 months during the emergency.
Yeah.
What was your first thought when you were arrested?
No, we had decided to organize Satyagraha, and I was working for ABVP, and therefore we organized on 11th December 11 colleges and 11 Satyagrahas at different places. I was member of the Senate, so I did it in the university campus, and my batch was arrested after 2 p.m. And this is, we were determined. We wanted to do something. We had already read that MISA, if you are applied MISA or DRI, even DRI, you get punishment. So we got punishment of 3 months.
Right.
But after that, we were put in MISA. And MISA, there was no appeal. And there was no limit how much government can keep. So the Attorney General Nirbhay was asked by court, if they don't have the right to habeas corpus and no rights at all appeal, then
Right.
can you take life of the prisoner? It said Constitution says yes, that gives the power to the government. So this was complete dictatorship. And we were fighting against it because there are two reasons. My father was sub-editor of Delhi Kesari, and he was on night shift on 25th, 26th, and 27th June 75. So he came and told us first day that this is emergency that has happened. And secondly, he came and said, now the police officer has come in the office and he is now, we have to give him all. Unless he gives clearance, we cannot print any news. So that was the worst kind of press, means press was never muzzled like this. And that was the real case of press freedom completely forfeited under various articles of extraordinary powers. Government forfeited practically all freedoms to the people, like freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of organization, freedom of opposition, freedom of anything, nothing. So all leaders were arrested on the very first day. Then we organized at various places the satyagrahas, and after in satyagraha we were arrested, and then I had to be there for 16 months.
Right. Sir, in jail, you along with fellow activists also started a weekly titled Nirbhay, which became very popular, right, among the political prisoners. Could you explain a little more about it?
Nirbhay is fearless.
Hmm.
So all the jail inmates, 400, all parties, all organizations were there. And we used to write 20 pages of this thing, and 4 of our colleagues used to do it. The journalist, senior journalist Sudhir Zoglekar, Dharamchand Jodia, Bhikkhu Idate, who was denotified tribe commission chairman. So all were involved, and we printed every week. But not printed, it was written, and it was a wallpaper like thing. And we used to put on all walls of different barracks. And people used to rush and read everything. And they were very happy with that moment. There were many other programs also we did, seminars, public meetings, then discussions, various kinds of group discussions. And so all things put together, there was a churning of thought process all over. And it was for us proved Yeroda University. And all the senior leaders Even the RSS chief Balasab Devras was there. We used to go to him every day. We used to ask him any question, and he was frank enough to answer all questions. But one thing was looming large, that how many days, because that time Nelson Mandela was in jail for 14 years, and Egypt and other political prisoners, they were in prison for more than 10 years. So we never knew that how many days Indira Gandhi will keep. But ultimately, a revolution happened in 50 days. That's a real story.
Right. How did that period shape your political journey?
I was determined to, I was serving in the bank. So immediately next day, I informed the bank that I am detained, and therefore it is the leave beyond my reasons. I have no role in that, but that was given. But that was a technical thing. What was main is I had decided much earlier, me and my wife has decided much earlier that she also participated in Satyagraha on the same day. So we all were decided that one of us would do politics and one of us will run the family. And what our arrangement continued for next last 50 years.
Right. What was daily life like in jail? Any moments that stayed with you? You remember even
I
for...
tell you, the first 3 months we were put with the ordinary criminals. So
Okay.
one barrack, one darri, one pillow small with katha bolte hai. It was like very rough, and then gogdi, that is also again kambal, और वो सब लेके उतना ही स्पेस होता था, 4-5 feet by 7 feet. That was the, so in one barrack we used to be 120 people, and there were many hardened criminals who had committed murders, who had committed thefts, who had committed many other things also were there. But we used to ultimately a community develops. And first day there was no tea, there was kanji, and we were very shocked we are not getting tea. But afterwards, what happened was kanji was so popular. We brought only salt from the house and put it in that, and it was so popular that it was good nourishment. So that we enjoyed. So you have to enjoy every moment of your suffering also. Did it.
Right. What kind of resistance did you and others try to sort of organize from inside? You spoke about Nirbhay, but anything else?
No, anything. See, all the meetings, it was free discussion inside, but our letters were scanned. Our outgoing letters and inward coming letters were scanned. There were no other thing than the radio or transistor. So this was the only communication, that was one-way communication. The government tune was there. And we organized various symposiums, various inputs gathered together from all jails, and our visitors used to meet us, though twice a week, but they used to bring us lot many news, and those news we were discussing, and we were shaping what we will do if it continues for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, and so nobody's spirit was down. We also organized various sports tournaments, various other things also, but resistance was the essence of the jail period, and we built around our commitment to our democracy and the freedom of not only press but all citizens was paramount, and that is what we did throughout the period.
Right. You know, the opposition today says there is an undeclared emergency. There was a press conference that was done earlier in the day where, Congress president also talked about how EC is compromised. It's like a puppet. Polls are fixed. Dissenters are jailed. Jairam Ramesh has also spoken about it. How do you respond to that?
See, this is nothing can forgive Congress for any logic now they put up, because they have done the worst kind of sin. And if people would not have made revolution and brought Janata Party, the all destruction, what Congress did in one sentence, they destroyed the constitution written by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, and which we got after 150 years of struggle against British. So that is what Congress did. And for what? For only one purpose, to save chair of Indira Gandhi. So they took away powers of the court also. So everything was muzzled and dictatorship was on, only because Congress was in danger, or the power they don't want it to leave to anybody else. They would appointed anybody else also as a prime minister. But she never wanted, Gandhi family never wants to go away out of power. And therefore, now also that is their real reason for frustration. It is utter desperation. When they win in Telangana, when they win in Karnataka, their election commission is good, EVM is good, everything is good. And when they lose in Maharashtra, Haryana, and Delhi, it is bad. They don't talk of Delhi. They don't talk of Haryana now. They will not talk of Maharashtra also some days, because this is the worst kind of logic they are giving. This is not the answer which they should not only say sorry for the emergency, which they have technically said, they should really amend their ways. यानी in implicating ECI without any proof. Now ECI has called Rahul Gandhi for personal discussion, and any question full day he can ask any question and officers will answer. That is what I read today. It's a good move, because I am very sure he will not go. He will not go, because he knows the truth that at 5 p.m. the estimate is given, but after 5 p.m. up to 6 p.m. there is regular voting, and after that there is more voting in the last hour, so it continues up to 7 o'clock. And there is Congress booth level karyakarta there in the hall as a agent, polling agent, and he signs on the final document of how many votes have been polled in the booth. This he knows it doesn't, but he has decided to be extremist. He has decided to be urban Nakshal, and he has decided to create confusion amongst masses, but that is not going to happen. And people are very shrewd enough, robust common sense is what is I believe in more, because they understand who is good, who is bad, who is good for the country, who is not good for the country, and who brought the emergency and destroyed the constitution, and who brought it back. And brought it back, I must mention that RSS Parivar was out of 1,10,000, there must be 70, 80,000 people from RSS ideology. So that was our duty. We did our duty. We don't boast the numbers and things. We are saying that we fought for democracy, and that is the essence of the whole struggle. And people supported us. People got to know of what happened in jail only in last 50 days. But that dramatized everything. And people were really crying when we used to tell our stories, because as even in my case, after the heart surgery, because there was accidentally detected hole in the heart, and that was open heart surgery was performed in the government hospital. But after that, no parole was given. I had to go back to jail And after that, 1 month they gave the parole. And on 15th August 76, on the Independence Day, I went back to jail. That was the cruelty they were showing to all. And this is people, when they listen to all many stories of like that. One of our Karyakarta, she was pregnant, she gave birth, and the child was right from birth was in jail. So there are so many stories. Many people were beaten up. Many people died. Many people were operated upon. Many people fell ill. They didn't receive good treatment. And all this happened and no freedom. See, what is jail? Jail is you don't have any freedom. You can't talk freely outside. You can't go outside. You can listen from outside. Uh, oh, that time many popular Hindi songs used to be played on loudspeaker outside, and we used to listen. So this is how the jail life was. It was never a rosy thing, and they used to say that we have provided all facilities. No, absolutely not. Basic facility of human right is freedom, and that freedom was forfeited, and therefore that was the fight. And people also received it very nicely in 50 days, and 50 days we got victory. On this background, that I must tell you that on 18th January she called the elections on 20th March. So there were only 57 days. From that 7 days, we were released on 26th of January. And on 26th of January, uh, RSS and other people were not released. So partially, the emergency was lifted partially. So the gloom of emergency and fear of emergency was always there. And many people thought that she wants to legitimize her emergency through ballot because opposition has no candidate, no money, nothing to fight about, and people haven't understood what has happened. So we should not contest, we should boycott. But finally, Jayaprakash Narayan, Atalji, Advaniji, Morarji, and many other leaders decided that we should fight. And they fought it, and people gave the verdict decisively. And we won 296 seats. You will understand why Rahul Gandhi was saying 296 they will win, because he has that sulk in the mind that Congress was defeated and Janata Party got 296 seats. So exactly that figure he was raising throughout the campaign.
Right. Well, how do you see press freedom today, considering, you have been the INB minister earlier, in contrast to, what was the media's role during the emergency?
The emergency was complete ban. As I told you, my father told us how the censor police official used to come, check all news, and there is no censorship now. Then, that time the media expansion was very limited. It was basically few newspapers, periodicals, and All India Radio and things. Now there are so many private channels. There are so many YouTubers that they can influence anybody. Now I don't think that if anybody nobody can think of emergency and putting like that the press, because press is completely free now. Every time they discuss. On the other hand, Supreme Court is now saying that YouTube is giving some YouTube channels are giving very bad content. You must have some rules to stop that. So it is the Supreme Court which is suggesting. We had made only liberal guideline, because for printing press, then newspapers, there is press council. At least a forum where you can register a complaint that is getting heard, and after that, there is a small but token punishment given or the fine done. Now, in today's world, like your own channel or anything, there is no censorship.
But we continue to be ranked very poorly when it comes to press freedom.
No, that is a good joke. You reminded me. See, what is this? We went deep into it. We continually corresponded with the organization, Reporters Without Border. So we continued with them, and they told us that we consult the experts in media from every country, and on that basis we decide the press freedom. I said here in India everything is free. So what is the press freedom problem? So Burkina Faso is 100 places ahead of India. Known Islamist countries, known theocracies, where you cannot even criticize the ruler, that is allowed, that is democratic, that is press freedom. And where every press freedom is there, that was not recognized because we asked, how many people in India you talk to? They said 5. We said, who are those 5 people who told you that there is no press freedom? They said, no, we can't reveal their names. So this is all bogus conspiracy against India and on many hunger index. Many indexes is a ploy to defame India deliberately.
Right. Well, you've called the emergency a murder of democracy.
Yeah.
How do you explain this phrase?
Because what is democracy? Democracy is all about constitutional rule, equality before the law. Here, the Prime Minister was kept separate. Her election cannot be challenged, and court cannot take cognizance of it. That's one difference. All the freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of thought, freedom of everything was taken away. Press censorship was there. So there was no freedom at all left. And that is why it was dictatorship and it is a murder of democracy.
One last question. 50 years later, what is your biggest takeaway from those months spent in jail and any personal memory that you'll never forget?
See, I live up with very good memories because all we worked and lived together as brothers, and that was a very good bonhomie. And the matter of parties or nothing mattered. Mattered was definitely we were fighting against it. There was one spirit, and therefore you know that after the declaration of election, the Janata Party was formed practically in jail and then formally outside.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Javadekar, for giving us your time. Thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you.